Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Enjoy English School. I'm Bruce.
大家好，我是 Bernice.
Today is our second day of a special lesson on the problem that many people have, even in rich countries, and this is a serious problem. About 1 in 7 or 8 people, even in the United States, a wealthy country, don't get enough to eat.And today we continue talking about this problem.
没错，我们今天继续讨论这个问题，为什么在这么有钱的国家呢，却会发生这种贫穷、没有东西可以吃的问题。
Okay, so we'll be right back after this break. Pay attention.
好的。
Going hungry in the land of the rich. What can we do to help those who don't have enough food?Shirley and Annie Jew came up with a solution. In 2017, when Hurricane Harvey destroyed over 100,000 homes in their city, Houston, the sisters got involved. While helping to clear water from a flooded supermarket, they saw a huge amount of food being wasted. At the same time, thousands of people in the city didn't have enough to eat.The girls were only 15 when they set up Fresh Hub with 10 of their classmates. They created an app which could be used by residents to find out whether fresh food was available. Then they contacted local farmers and supermarkets to ask for their extra food. At first, they found that people didn't take them seriously because they were so young.They decided to work with Second Servings, a local organization that had been providing food to food deserts around the city. The owner of Second Servings, Barbara Braunstein, was impressed with the twins and introduced them to several food providers. To date, Fresh Hub has delivered more than 15,000 pounds of food to people in need.Okay,
let's begin. We begin with a question. What can we do to help those who don't have enough food? If we see children who are hungry or older people who look hungry, we don't feel right. It shouldn't be this way. But what can we do about it?
所以针对这个没有食物足够的食物可以供应给每一个人，到底我们可以做些什么样的事情来帮助这些没有足够食物吃的人呢？
Shirley and Annie Zhu came up with a solution. These two girls, to come up with is to think of or bring about. A solution is the answer to a problem.
所以有两个姐妹呢，她们两个就想到了一个 solution， 一个解决办法了。
In 2017, when Hurricane Harvey destroyed over 100,000 homes in their city, Houston, the sisters got involved. I remember that. That was just 4 or 5 years ago. And the problem was...A hurricane we usually think of as terrible wind, lots of rain, and maybe floods. Well, there really wasn't a lot of wind, but there was more water, there was more rain than in a few days than they usually have in a year. So the whole city flooded, and Houston is a pretty big city. It's the 4th largest city in the United States now, after New York, LA, and Chicago.So you're talking about 5, or like Taipei, 5, 6, 7 million people. And the only way you could get around at that time was by boat.
OK， 所以呢，确实当时在2017年，这个飓风呢哈维摧毁了 ，destroy 就是完全把它摧毁了。在这个 Houston 这个城市，那刚才 Bruce 老师提的是美国目前第4大的一个城市。那么这个城市呢，当时被摧毁了将近10多万间的这个房子。 好，都被摧毁了。结果就在那个时候呢，这对姐妹呢，她们就开始做一些参与的活动，可能她们想帮助一些这个受到这个水灾啊，好，这个侵袭的这些人，因为当时呢，老师说了啊，那个水非常非常的多，可能比1年下的还要多，这样子。
While helping to clear water from a flooded supermarket, they saw a huge amount of food being wasted. So the two sisters decided to go to a supermarket to help out, to sweep the water out and to maybe things had fallen over and were spoiling. You can imagine the situation and how hard it would be to fix everything. But they wanted to help out, and they worked hard at this, and they noticed, gee, there's an awful lot of food that could still be used, but it's fallen into the water, or people wouldn't usually buy it, but it's still good. It's still like apples or oranges. Even if you put them in water, you could still eat them later.
对，所以呢，这边就讲到了这一对姐妹呢，就在那个时候呢，当她们正准备呢要去做一些帮助，她们帮助呢把这一些被水淹的这一些 supermarket 呢的这个水呢，把它清除一下 ，clear 好，把它清除一下。就在那个时候，他们看到了一件事，什么事情呢？哇，怎么有这么多 huge amount of， 就是好大量、好多量的这样的一些食物呢，在当时都被浪费了。因为我们知道嘛，水这样子盖过去，你一定很多的食物，其实他们还是可以吃的，可能淹到水里面，但是应该没有人会去买这些淹过水的食物了，对不对？所以你看，通通都被浪费掉了。
Also, I mentioned oranges and apples. Think of all the canned food. Absolutely nothing wrong with it except maybe the paper label has come off, but inside it's still as good as new.
对，所以老师讲的是罐头食品，也不过只是泡在水里面，又没有打开过，还是可以吃的。
At the same time, thousands of people in the city didn't have enough to eat. So while the sisters were helping out in the supermarket, during this time after the hurricane left, but it also left a lot of water, this is when the girls realized maybe there's a solution here. We have food, and there are people who don't have enough to eat. And you'll see after our break what their solution is.
所以呢，就在此同时一样 at the same time， 就是我们刚才讲的 meanwhile， 就在这个同时呢，哇，好几千个人在当时的 Houston 这个城市，他们都没有足够东西可以吃。但是呢，这一群姐妹在帮助这个supermarket 在清理这些水的时候，又发现其实这些东西也不过只是泡在水里面，其实还是有一些被浪费掉的食物，刚好又有一些人没有足够的食物可以吃。我要怎么样帮助这样子的状况呢？所以等一下我们就会了解到了。
Welcome back. And now we can find out what the girls, Annie and Shirley Zhu, did. The girls were only 15 years old, when they set up Fresh Hub with 10 of their classmates. So at 15, you're finishing junior high school or entering high school. So you're not a small child anymore. And those kids, those teenagers, have lots of energy. So they decided to get together and do something about the problem. And they called themselves, I love this, Fresh Hub. Fresh, of course, means fresh fruits and vegetables. Hub is the center of something. For example, if we have a wheel, the center of the wheel, everything goes around the center. That's called the hub of a wheel.
OK， 好，所以呢，这一对姐妹呢，在当时呢，也不过才15岁。15岁是什么？你这个国中生的时候，我们的台湾的同学国中生可能精力旺盛，有没有？还在这个玩电动。可是你看，人家15岁，他们就干嘛？他们就成立了一个地方，叫做所谓的 Fresh Hub。刚刚老师讲了 ，Hub 就像一个轮子的中心，那个中心的轴的地方。所以呢，他们就，而且他们是跟谁？跟其他他们的同学哦。 就一样都是国中生15岁的年龄哦。他们跟其他的10个这些同学，大家一起成立了这个叫生鲜集散这个中心。
I'm sure you've heard of this before. If we're talking about American cities and someone says the Big Apple, you think of
New York.
All right. When we say the hub, what city are we referring to?
I don't know.
Even most Americans don't know. Boston.
Boston.
Because it's the biggest city by far in all of New England. And they say all roads lead to Boston. So it's the hub, it's the center.
OK, 所以 Boston 波士顿它就是这个中心，美国的一个中心的城市。
Continuing, that is, now we have a team of 12, the 2 girls and their 10 classmates. They created an app which could be used by residents to find out whether fresh food was available. And as I don't have any of this new technology, my friend Bernice will explain this for you.
OK, 好，所以呢，这边就是说这一群这个同学们跟这2个女孩，这样12个人呢，他们就自己自创了一个应用程式。各位知道这个应用程式呢，现在大家每个人手都一只手机，所以呢，它使用起来非常的方便。你要不管查什么都可以，比如说像我们现在这个疫情时代也是一样，我们会用 App 去查询，哎，旁边这个人我是不是有可能有曾经出过国的这个状况啦，或者是他还没有接受疫苗，我是不是要离他远一点？或这个地区的人太多了，我尽量不要进去到这个地区，可能我会感染到什么样的病菌？这些 App 都可以用来利用怎么样呢？被这些东西呢拿来运用给这些 residents， 就是当地的居民，来找出什么呢？是否这一些食物，而且是新鲜可以吃的食物哦，他们是不是还是 available， 是不是可以买得到或吃得到？
Right. Available means it's ready to use. You have it. You don't have to look for it. It's right there. Then they contacted local farmers and supermarkets to ask for their extra food. And this is being done not only in Houston with this group. This idea has now gone through many, many communities in the United States, in Europe, in Australia, in richer countries, Japan, where farmers, we mentioned in yesterday's lesson, they may throw out things which they think they can't sell very well, but it's still edible. There's no problem with it at all. It just may not look as fresh or as pretty as other food. And the same for supermarkets. There are some products which they cannot sell very easily. Instead of throwing them out, give them to this group, the Fresh Hub, and they will find people who can use it.
对，所以呢，你用了这个 app 呢，你查出来说，哎，哪一个地区可能还有一些新鲜的食物我可以购得的话呢，那么他们就开始去联络这些当地的这些农夫啦，或者是 supermarket 啦，然后就跟他们寻求说，哎，是不是有多余的食物可以提供给我们？
Okay, we've got one big paragraph still to go, and we will do it in a moment. Okay, welcome back, and let's finish up. At first, when they first got started on this Fresh Hub project, they found that people didn't take them seriously because they were so young. Huh? What are you kids doing? 15, 16-year-olds may be irresponsible. Maybe they don't do what they're supposed to do, but many of them are good kids. They're willing to work, so people should accept them and encourage them.
所以起初一开始的时候也不是那么样的成功的。这12个孩子呢，因为他们还是孩子，虽然说他们已经是大孩子了，可是他们发觉呢，其实其他的人并没有把他们做的这个事情呢，认为说，哎，当成一回事儿 ，take seriously， 就是很认真的去看待，并没有哎。为什么？因为大家会说，你们不是孩子吗？你们是不是说说而已啊？你真的会这样子做吗？所以大家觉得你们不一定会真的这样子付诸实行，所以并没有把他们做的事看待的如此认真。
They, the kids, they decided to work with second servings You can see the 大写 here for second serving. So in this case, it happens to be a group of people, just as Fresh Hub is also capitalized because it's the name of something, of an organization. And second servings in Houston is a local organization. An organization is a group, a club, a number of people who get together for the same purpose to do something, that had been providing food to food deserts around the city. So they found another group who had the same idea and they had experience.
没错，
It wasn't new for them.
Yeah, 所以你看这群小朋友，既然好吧，你们其他人认为没有什么，不是把我们看得很认真，不太相信我们真的会这么做，所以他们决定了这样子好了，我们干脆跟 Second Servings 这一个组织呢来做一个合作。那么这个组织是当地的一个组织，那这个组织呢，其实已经对于这个给食物这件事情行之有年了，所以你看他们一直以来早就已经这么做了。Had been 加上 ing 表示以前就已经开始做了，一直做到现在都还在做这件事情。他们不断的提供这个食物给谁呢？尤其是给这些食物沙漠区的人们 around the city， 在这个城市的附近。
And I should mention here, serving is a word we use if I finish eating my green beans, and I really like green beans. Can I have some more? Can I have a second serving?
再多要一份的意思，这时候就是一个 serving。
The owner of Second Servings, this organization, with the same goal as Fresh Hub, the kids who got together, her name is Barbara Bronstein, was impressed with the twins and introduced them to several food providers. So these two organizations, we say, hooked up. They got together, and Barbara Bronstein is probably a middle-aged woman, but she was impressed with. She thought, wow, they may be 15 years old, but they work hard, they have clear thinking, they are willing to help others. What can go wrong? And she, Barbara Bronstein, introduced them, Annie and Shirley, to several food providers. Now, a food provider might be the supermarket or the farmers that we've been talking about. Also, hotels.
Yeah, right. 没错。所以呢，这一个Second Servings 这个组织的老板。Barbara 呢，她就决定了，她说，哎呀，对于这群小孩子们，尤其是这个 twins， 就是这一对双胞胎的姐妹，她觉得印象非常深刻。你们怎么那么厉害？你们年纪那么轻，你们就想得到这样的一个想法，所以呢，就把他们引介给好几个这一些食品的这个供应商，比如说刚才老师有讲，可能是 markets， 可能是 farmers， 可能是农夫，又可能是一些饭店，他们都有这样的一个管道，所以就引介，把这一对女孩子引介给他们了。
To date, until now, up to this point, up to now, Fresh Hub has delivered more than 15,000 pounds of food to people in need. Just a moment here. That's 7.5 tons. That's as much as a big truck weighs.
好，所以老师这边讲到了 to date 的意思就是说直到现在哦，就是到了目前都还有这样的一个活动哟。他们这个 Fresh Hub 呢，你看，所以这边用到是现在完成式，因为从当时就开始一直到现在，一直不断的呢去运送超过了15000磅的食物，尤其是对于那些有需要的人们，他们可以提供这么多的食物。
Another way to think of that 15,000 pounds, if you have a big meal, a big dinner, the average amount that you will eat is about 1 pound. And so 15,000 people could eat one big meal each.
所以你看这么多的人，15000的人可以大家一起吃一顿大餐，这就是它的这个量。
Okay, let's take a short break, and it'll be time for our review of useful and helpful vocabulary for you. Okay, our first item in the first paragraph, you can see that the girls here, Shirley and Annie Zhu, came up with a solution. They produced, they made, they thought of some answer to a problem.
所以这个片语的意思呢，就是想到了。
Also on the second line, second sentence, destroy is to ruin. R-U-I-N. R-U-I-N.
这是一个动词，表示破坏、毁坏的意思。
If something is flooded, now flood is usually used as a noun, but it can also be used as a verb. A hurricane flooded the town means it brought a flood to the town.
所以 flood 可以当动词、名词，就是指这个水灾、水患。所以这边当动词加了 ed， 就是被这个水灾、被这个水这样子淹过去了。
In the next paragraph, first sentence, the girls, they set up fresh hub. Now, there are many verbs we can use here for this kind of idea. But it's easy. They started a new group.
所以在这边的意思呢，就是指建立、创立，也就是你开始了一个新的一个团体。
At the end of that paragraph, then they contacted. You reach out and talk to someone or get to know them, do business with them, or discuss things with them. If you contact people, you reach them so that you can discuss things together.
当动词来使用联系或联络。
In the last paragraph, take seriously. That means you don't really accept something. You don't really believe in someone or something.
对，这个片语的意思就是把什么东西当成一回事儿，没有认真的对待。
In the next sentence, organization is simply a well-prepared, well-managed group.
所以 organization 当名词就是一个组织的意思。
And then later on we have she was impressed with. To be impressed with is to think, wow, that's really something. 一起棒。
好，所以的意思就是说对什么东西印象很深刻，或觉得哇，你做的事情很棒、很了不起的意思。
Okay, that's it for today's lesson, the second of two. I can say this, I've been in Taiwan quite a long time. There are no food deserts in Taiwan.
No.
Everywhere you go in Taiwan, even when you climb mountains, there are people selling things all the way up to the top of the mountain. So we don't have to worry about it, but unfortunately there are still people, even in rich countries, where food is not readily available.
没错。
Okay, that's it for today and these two lessons. Join us anytime you have the time. Till then, bye-bye.